Hi and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about somebody I've been wanting to cover for a while, and that is Johnny Somali. Johnny Somali, if you don't know, is that one streamer who used to travel around Japan harassing people, slapping a dead fish around. He also would break into this work site, like a construction site, and just run around and film for no reason. He also is known for having the TTS messages just playing out loud, where they'll like play the most unhinged and racist things, and generally just being a nuisance, a douchebag, and a dick. He has been in a lot of different countries, including Israel, I think it was, where he had mentioned that he wanted to grab a woman by her privates. A extreme gentleman, as you can clearly see. Now, of course, a person like Johnny Somali is not well liked, and he decided that he would take his dumbass to Korea. Now, that might have been the single biggest mistake that he's ever made, because he's currently facing upwards of 5 years and now more in prison because of the things he's been doing in Korea. So let's talk a little bit about what he's been up to. Firstly, and probably one of the biggest things he has done in Korea that I remember very vividly, is that he was that one streamer who would run around harass random Koreans by having the TTS message say racist things, up until that one time where a man came up and punched him directly in the jawline. Because you see, the Koreans don't take that sort of shit. We have already seen them potentially overturn an entire coup, but they just didn't like Johnny Somali very much. So the tech-savvy Koreans made an app. They made an app that would track him. And where would it track him? Literally anywhere in Korea. So whenever he would go somewhere, there would be a bounty on his head that these people would make their bet in with real money that you could win if you went over and physically assaulted him. Now, some people actually did that. And of course, I can't say I directly encourage it. I would never say that. But I'm just saying that good job, guys. Like, nice one. High five. I think it's incredibly funny. Like, imagine disliking a streamer so much that you create an app to track them just to beat their ass because they're that insufferable. Like, that is good shit, you know? That is content. I love that. Oh, of course, Johnny Somali being the complete douchebag he is. He pretended like, oh, he can take it. He'll play tough guy up until he gets beaten, and then he'll go down in like one punch. Like, actually the weakest fighter ever. And not only did he, run around harass people with TTS messages, that's one thing. He would also go over to a statue, a historical figure of a woman that was made into slavery, specifically sexual slavery, during the Japanese occupation of Korea, and he would grope it. Of course, this goes without saying that is extremely distasteful and disgusting in about every sense of the word, and only made him even more hated, which is impressive for the most hated person on the internet. And that is saying a bit, because one thing that has been going on as well, if you don't know, is that Kick and a lot of these like live streamers, like people who like record the actual live area, whatever, real life streamers, they've been complete degenerates, like absolute douchebag, disgusting pieces of shit. But Johnny Somali definitely takes the cake in a certain extent, just by virtue of the amount of shit he's done. I wouldn't call him the worst by far, but he's just done so much. Like, the volume of the amount of shit this guy gets up to is insane. So after he grew up that statue, he had a bit of controversy, blah 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 blah. He eventually ended up in house arrest and had to appear in court. Well, he appeared in court, actually, just completely hammered. He had been taking shots on stream the day before and talking mad shit when the cop would ask him, can you please take off your hat? Because he was wearing this comically large hat, apparently. He'd like take it off just to immediately put it back on, so he added charges for being disrespectful to the judge. He would also show up 3 hours late, which also earned him a bit of an extra charge as far as I can read myself too. He also managed to do this dumb thing that you just don't do in any court system, and just pretend like nothing was wrong, that he could get away with everything. The fact that he didn't get arrested in Japan clearly has gotten to his head. And essentially do that pretty much throughout the entire trial, eventually earning him 5 years plus for that alone. Now, here's the thing. He's obviously not in prison yet, and there can also be a case that he can appeal it. Well, there was a case, because you see, it is now almost guaranteed, as he has committed sex crimes in Korea. Specifically, he AI generated another streamer, I think a Korean streamer even at that, on himself doing sexual acts, which is actually against the Korean law, as it is taken as being a sex crime. Of course, again, like I said, a completely disgusting, degenerate piece of shit loser. And this is just adding to that pile of things. Like, I think that is completely disgusting and it's some degenerate behavior on like an unholy another level. Now, of course, there's a chance that he can weasel his way out of it. There is, like, obviously a chance, probably not a very big one, as Korea, as far as I can understand from, like, different YouTube videos and stuff. They don't do a case on a person, like, they don't pursue law unless they are almost certain they can get him in the slammer. And yeah, here's hoping, you know, I want this guy off the streets. And he essentially would AI generate this fucking woman doing sex acts on him. Disgusting things all around, and that is how he would earn the guaranteed prison time. In addition to that, though, he's also been taking shots on stream, and he would go and commit whatever crime for $5. $5 buckaroonies can earn you a good old charge on the Johnny Somali list, as you give him money and then he'll go out and be a nuisance in public for it. Obviously, we are seeing some, if you're like me, you might be remembering somebody like Only Use Me Blade, and I'm seeing some good old flashbacks to the drinking hours of that man. And I think it is insane to see a younger person delve into that as well, given how Only Use Me Blade turned out. And I also think that Johnny Somali is just a goblin. He's a clout-obsessed goblin, so it doesn't really matter, right? Like, he very clearly wants this attention. He's very desperate for people to not just talk about him, but also just for viewership. He's desperate for all of this. And I believe to some level that he actually deeply does care. We saw that one girl who almost had killed somebody on her stream by having them drown and just walking away from it. Like, when she was called out for it, she would talk about how it didn't feel good. Like, she wanna be like. I, to some degree, have a strong belief that even Johnny Somali, as unlikable as he is, as much of a piece of shit as he is, he's probably also in that category of person who deep down, he wants validation. He wants people to like him, to think that he's the man, he's the goat, he's the cool man. But nobody does. He's just a disgusting little degenerate person. That's all he is. And don't get it twisted, like, Johnny Somali deserves prison time, absolutely. But there is obviously, like I said, a chance that he can be pulled back by some other fucking program in the States. I don't know anything about the American states, like law systems and stuff like that. But apparently there is a chance, but I don't think it's likely. I hope it isn't. I would love to see this man away from the internet, away from everything that can sort of, you know, do harm to others, annoy others. Because as much as it is annoying to see him around, and as much as I can laugh at the clips of him getting beaten the fuck up, it has to be the most annoying thing to know that he's in your country, disrespecting your culture in a way that just isn't okay. And like I said, I of course hope that he gets put behind bars sooner than later, and I think maybe even for himself it could be a moment to reflect back on. Now, is it likely that he'll reflect back? No, he's like a bottom tier, a bottom of the barrel streamer who streams on some obscure fucking website. Like, nobody wants him around. That's just the reality. He is the rat that keeps coming back. Nobody wants him there, but you can't get fucking rid of him. He is the like little piece of meat that has lodged itself behind your teeth. Like, just the most annoying little piece of shit ever. That is what he is. And I hope, like I said, he'll get behind bars, and I think he will. I for sure wouldn't want him to come anywhere near my country. That's all I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, I think a person like Johnny Somali just doesn't deserve a second chance online. And I hope with a prison sentence, maybe that can also come a chance for him to reflect on the time he has spent outside of bars and maybe be reformed, maybe do something else with his time that isn't directly harassment. Like, we have seen a lot of weird things come out of the internet, but honestly, this entire trend of just harassing people online or like in real life while streaming has been by far one of the weirdest things to see come and go. And I think Johnny Somali has been riding the train for a while. He deserves prison time. He deserves everything that the justice system can throw at him. there's not a world where this man should be free. He should be without punishment. Because even for himself, even as a matter of perspective of that, right? Like, for the betterment of him, will probably also be to be behind bars, because there's no way that getting inebriated like he is every day is good for your body or your mental state. Nor would it be good for your body or your mental state if you don't get any fucking punishment for the things that you do on a level that actually matters. Because getting beaten up has to suck. Not being able to go anywhere because you're the world's most hated man, that has to be a bit of an issue. But like, being beaten up is something that you can get over, stay more inside, whatever, right? But kinda going to prison though, that's probably a little bit bigger. And at least, hopefully, it could trigger some neurons up in his brain that can like make him think a little bit about the entire laundry list of shit he has done to harass people and how that hasn't been okay. How he became the most hated man online, and how he hasn't gotten a legacy. Because at the end of the day, even when I'm gone from this platform, these videos will still exist. There won't be a trace of Johnny Somali by the time he's gone. Nobody will care. Nobody will talk about him. Nobody will give the slightest bit of a shit about him. Because he is, at the end of the day, just that. He is nothing. He is annoying. And that's not to say that he doesn't pull viewers. He does. People are still watching his stream, enabling him to do this sort of thing. But he is nothing. Like, that sort of legacy, in my opinion, just isn't one that you want to have. And it isn't the mark that, at least I think, he'd want to leave behind, right? I don't fucking know. I got a little bit deep there, and I'm sorry about that. At the end of the day, good things all around. I am very happy to see that he might be facing some punishment finally. And with that being said, I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day, and I'll see you all later.